There's a place in marriage that is so exhausting. It's where you don't know if you want to stay, but you're not ready to leave. So you live in between. You keep showing up, but your heart is guarded. You keep trying, but you're also keeping score. You're analyzing, evaluating, quietly preparing. That place, that's maybe. And you cannot build a beautiful marriage from there. Maybe sounds innocent. Maybe I'll stay. Maybe I'll go. Maybe things will change. Maybe they won't. But here's the truth. Maybe is a layover. It is not a destination. You can pass through maybe, but you cannot build a life there. Because when you live in maybe, you've got one foot out the door. Your bags are emotionally packed. You're constantly analyzing the relationship. You're quietly preparing to leave, even if you never say it. And your husband feels that. Even if you've never said a word, your energy communicates it loud and clear. At some point, maybe has to end. And you have to make a decision. Am I in this or am I out? And here's what's powerful. Deciding to stay and work on it is just as powerful as deciding to leave, because both create movement. But staying in indecision, that creates stagnation. You cannot repair a relationship from the fence. So if you are in maybe, there are two questions you have to answer. What do I actually need to be happy in a relationship? And secondly, how am I contributing to my own unhappiness right now? And listen, this is where most people get stuck, because it's really easy to answer the first question with, well, I need him to change. But the second question, that requires honesty. This is the shift. I am responsible for my own happiness. I am not responsible for his happiness. And he is not responsible for mine. But I am responsible for what I tolerate, what I participate in, what I reinforce, and how I show up. And sometimes this is hard to hear. If you think that you're not contributing to the dynamic at all, you're probably not seeing the full picture. And that doesn't mean everything is your fault. Mm-mm. But what it does mean is that you have power. And if you have power, you have options. A lot of what we experience in marriage isn't new. It's familiar. It comes from childhood dynamics, our relationship with our parents, what we learned love felt like or how it was modeled. So we recreate patterns that feel normal even when they're not healthy. That anxious pull, that emotional tension, that cycle you keep finding yourself in, it often feels like home, even when it hurts. Before you can repair your marriage, you have to come home to yourself. Because if you don't know what you need, what you value, who you are, you're going to keep looking for your husband to define that for you. And that will always leave you feeling powerless, lost, and resentful. So the order matters. You and yourself, you and your husband, and you and your motherhood. And there's no other way around that. So let's say that you have decided, I'm staying. Great. Now what? Now you unpack your bags. And something shifts. Because now he knows you're staying You know that you're staying, and your nervous system can finally settle. You cannot grow in fight or flight, and maybe is fight or flight, even though it's also the airport, because maybe is the layover to your final destination, which is a commitment. You do not live at the airport. So here's where we talk about something powerful and also often misunderstood. Women have influence in relationships, deep influence. When a man feels respected, admired, appreciated, it does something to him. It calls him up. But let me be clear. You can inspire a healthy man, but you cannot fix an unhealthy one. So this is not about overgiving or performing or earning love. This is about asking, who am I being in this relationship? And is that helping create what I actually want? Men thrive on feeling like they matter. They're winning. They're respected by their woman. And no, this isn't about being fake or submissive or small. It's about energy. Because criticism shuts men down. But belief builds them up. Now, I know what you're thinking. But what if he's not showing up at all? That's fair. But ask yourself, do I want to be right or do I want to create change? Because those are not always the same thing. I want to give you a real life example of my own. The other morning, my husband and I had been reconnecting really well. And I had told him that I needed more daily connection, and he heard me. He stepped up. And then the next morning, he was rushing to work. And instead of saying, hey, I love you, I really appreciated this time with you, I said, don't worry about me. I don't need anything. I'm fine. And the moment I said it, I felt it, that echo. I don't need anything. And I thought, wait a second. Is that how I see myself? Am I telling him and myself that I'm not worth time, attention, connection? Because whatever I believe about me, I will teach him to believe too. This is the deeper truth. People tend to treat us the way that we show them that we expect to be treated. Not perfectly, not always, but consistently over time. So if I show up like, I'm a burden, don't worry about me, that becomes the dynamic. Not because he decided it, but because I reinforced it. So if you are in maybe right now, here's your path forward. Get honest about what you need. Get honest about how you're showing up. Give yourself a window to decide. And then choose. Because you cannot build a beautiful, connected, thriving relationship, that type of relationship we are all craving as women. We cannot build that from the fence, from the airport terminal. We cannot be at the airport for that. We have to get on the plane and decide and get to our destination. So decide. I'm in. Unpack your bags. Come home to yourself. And then together, build something better. You don't repair a relationship by waiting to feel different. You repair it by deciding, and then by showing up like you mean it. If something in today's episode resonated with you and you're feeling a call to go deeper, I'd love to stay connected. I'm beginning to offer whole woman mentorship. This is a one-on-one, intuitive support for women who are ready to realign with themselves, their marriages, and their motherhood. I'm also experimenting with a monthly Whole Woman Circle. It's a live, online, guided women's experience rooted in responsibility, presence, and coming home to yourself. You can learn more, join the community, and explore what's unfolding at wholewomanawakening.com. Until next time, may you feel supported coming home to yourself.